Let's take a few moments to look at the current situation related to carbon recovery. In today's age of decarbonization, we encounter a great deal of confusion, controversy, and a general lack of fundamental understanding of the workings of the carbon industry and carbon recovery. In an effort to understand some of the key fundamentals that drive the waste and recycling industry, we have developed a website, waste.net, to act as a tool to assist in grasping the 4R strategy of reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover. Within the 4R's recycling and recovery sectors, we consider carbon as one of the important cornerstone elements. The reality is, much of our world is built upon carbon-based materials. Food and organic plant matter are all carbon-based. This includes wood and paper products. Petrochemicals, plastics, and synthetic fibers are also carbon-based materials. Subsequently, all the waste streams that we generate, that contain any of these materials, are basically carbon. The natural decomposition of any of these materials results in the reduction into a raw carbon-based material. As we attempt to automate the recovery of any of these waste streams, we end up with some form of basic elemental carbon. Composting, anaerobic digestion, gasification, pyrolysis, or incineration, are all types of reduction that can produce a raw form of carbon. We sometimes refer to this raw carbon under different names, such as digestate, biosolids, biochar, or raw carbon black, but they are all essentially variations of the same thing. This raw carbon material is an impure form of carbon, that may contain some level of contamination, and may also include undesirable trace elements, or heavy metals. In order to purify the raw carbon into a refined state, rendering it into a usable feedstock to produce a variety of industrial products, it needs to be processed in a recovery or refining procedure. Typically, carbon may be refined through an oxidation process, which converts the raw impure carbon into CO2, or carbon dioxide. In a further step, the CO2 is then converted into a pure form of solid elemental carbon. The CO2 conversion step, into pure recovered solid carbon, would be the same for waste-derived raw carbons, as it is for CO2 capture programs. CO2 capture of dilute carbon dioxide from direct air capture, or from flue gas emissions, result in the concentration of CO2. Unlike carbon capture and sequestration programs, we pursue the utilization of the carbon into useful products. In the past, if someone collected waste materials and dumped them, that action was considered illegal and immoral behavior. For some old-timers in the recycling industry, the concept of sequestration just seems wrong. The utilization of recovered carbon provides the opportunity to produce a reliable feedstock for a variety of industrial carbon products. Now, let's focus on some of the multitude of integrated carbon products that may be produced from recovered carbon feedstocks. Carbon powders and pigments represent a well-established sector that consumes large quantities of carbon on a continuing basis. Carbon powders may be used in applications such as reinforcing fillers. Carbon black is used as carbon reinforcing filler in tires, rubber and plastics. Carbon is used as a color pigment in paint and inks, and also as photocopier and laser printer toner. Carbon filtration media is utilized to deploy activated carbon in bulk, or cartridge carbon filter applications. Carbon filtration media is widely used for water purification, air filtration, and industrial gas processing. Electrolytic carbon products. The electrical industry utilizes carbon and graphite electrodes, carbon brushes, electronic components and carbon blocks. The expanded use of carbon in battery materials has spawned a wide range of innovative ongoing development. Fabricated carbon products in both crystalline and non-crystalline forms use carbon and graphite in such common products such as pencil lead, melting crucibles, and graphite refractory materials. The potential expansion of future developments in the use of graphene, along with advanced concepts surrounding carbon nanotubes, also show great promise. The use of recovered carbon fuels may become a more common practice, and may include solid, liquid, and gaseous fuels. The production of synthetic fuels may contribute to the adoption of carbon-neutral fuels. Solid carbon fuels. One of the most exciting untapped potentials is the production of clean recovered solid carbon fuels, that may be a direct green substitute for coal. The adoption of closed-loop mass balance technologies, that eliminate combustion emissions to the atmosphere, may provide a virtually unlimited use case for any volume of carbon, on a regenerating cycle. Liquid fuels. The conversion of CO2 and carbon monoxide-based hydrocarbons may be condensed into intermediate chemicals, such as naphtha, methanol, and ethanol. These intermediate chemicals may be further converted into liquid fuels that are commonly used in the transportation industries, such as gasoline, diesel, or kerosene and aviation fuels. Fuel gases may be produced in the form of synthetic methane, or recovered natural gas, by the conversion of CO2 into CH4. Blending CO2 with recovered hydrogen is our chosen path in the CO2 management strategy. The rendered natural gas may be used directly as a fuel product, or may be utilized as an interim stage, in the recovery of solid carbon. The concept of carbon-neutral fuels may be a little counterintuitive when first encountered, since combusting any carbon fuel emits CO2. But if the combusted fuel was produced, with an equivalent quantity of CO2 that has been produced from a recovered source, then no net emissions have been released to the atmosphere. This type of regenerated carbon cycle may be considered a net zero carbon footprint. The evolution of a regenerative carbon loop may play an important role in moving closer to achieving a balanced equilibrium in our environment. Beyond carbon, we intend to explore the recovery of other types of materials at some point in the future. Until then, please feel free to reach out to us at your convenience. Waste.net strives to achieve the goal of matching waste material generators directly with beneficial users of those materials. By connecting market participants, we foster collaboration and promote environmental sustainability. Please feel free to visit us today at www.waste.net.